This is a Where Are They Now video. Not about stars that were children's stars that grew up, where are they now? This is about missing persons. I wanted to do this video to educate people and make people aware of a situation with missing persons that a lot of people aren't aware of. In the United States, there are at least 100,000 missing persons cases, and 40,000 of those are deceased unidentified. But there are a lot of living unidentified individuals, and the particular group that I want to talk about in this video is children who were abducted who are now grown-up adults that have gotten away from their abductors or are still around their abductors, but they're no longer children, they're grown adults. And I want people to start to think of where are they now, because more and more of them are coming forward and a lot of them really want to get home. But there's a lot of barriers to that. So that's why I'm doing this video, to try and help people understand and educate people. I was abducted when I was 3 years old in the 60s, and I'm now in my 50s and still trying to find my family. It's a very difficult process and it's very slow. One thing that's been a great part of my experience is meeting families who have missing persons. Especially one family that's been very helpful and has helped me a lot in my healing is the Gill family. Elizabeth Gill was taken in the 60s, and so I met Jeannie and Martha, and I did DNA testing to see if I was Elizabeth Gill. It didn't turn out that I was, but my relationship with Martha and Jeannie has been very healing. It's allowed me to see how the family that have missing children are still looking for their children. They still care about them, and they still would like to see them. I didn't know that when I first started looking for my family. I thought my family probably had forgotten about me, that too many years had gone by, and they just didn't even think about me anymore. And then I believe that probably from Martha and Jeannie, hopefully meeting me and other people like me has helped them to know that there are children out there who are abducted and grew up and do want to go home. And there are just certain drawbacks to them being able to do that. And I hope it's given them hope to find Elizabeth Gill one day. They're real troopers in searching for their sister and their daughter. And they're just a great example of a family that has come into the current age and gotten their case on the internet, gotten a lot of news stories done about Elizabeth, in just a really caring, loving way. They're a great family, and they've been a great part of my healing and a part of my search. There are other families from the 60s, but not a lot of the families from the 60s and 50s have put their cases on the internet, and that makes it difficult for the children that are looking for their families because the cases aren't out there. They were probably told that their child probably didn't survive, or for whatever reason couldn't be found. I've heard a lot of different scenarios about what people were told back then, and so now there's the internet, and they haven't learned the new ways to put their cases out there. So in talking to the Gill family, in our many conversations, we've talked about a lot of things, and one is that more families from the 50s and 60s and early 70s need to come forward and get their cases out there. But also more abduction victims need to find a way to get to a place to get help and assistance. And starting an organization, we have a Facebook page and I have an email address to try and help people in this situation get some help in searching, get some places to go, some tools, some support. So the Facebook page is findmywayhome.org on Facebook. There's also a website, and the email address is findmywayhome@comcast.net. So to the families that are still searching, please don't give up hope. There are people out there. They've gotten in touch with me. I know several people who are searching for their families right now. And for the people that are searching, that think they're alone and think there aren't any other people like them out there, it's not true. Just email me or go join the Facebook page, privately message anybody on there, so that you can start to get help and know that you're not the only one out there. There are a lot of things that keep people, when they're adults, from actually finding their families. There's a lot of barriers in searching. The information that's on the websites and on the internet are not necessarily the things that the children remember. They're more the things that the parents remember. The date the child was abducted, the child's name, the date of birth. If your child was young enough, these are the things that the abductor would erase from their memory. And they may not have these tools and these keys to actually help them search. The things that they would remember are different. Hair color, eye color, favorite storybook, song, friend's name, a pet's name, sisters and brothers, nicknames, what they called their grandparents. And these are memories that might come back to them in very, very scattered ways. A little memory here, a little memory there, things that just sound familiar. They feel right, and yet they don't exactly know how that all ties together unless they were to read about themselves on the internet. Some abductors save outfits or things that the child was taken with, and your child may have seen this when they were growing up. They may have found it. I've talked to a couple people who did find outfits that they think are from the outfits when they were actually abducted. And yet there's nowhere on the internet to put in a description of an outfit that you were taken with to find a match with a family. That information isn't there. It's buried in police files and on paper, or buried in internet sites and databases where people can't actually, information that people can't actually access. So there's a lot of barriers. Law enforcement wants you to have a DNA test against the abductor or proof that you were abducted when you get in touch with them. And when I actually asked the family that took me, they refused to do DNA testing. I believe anybody who really did abduct a child is going to refuse to do that test. So that should be proof, but instead it's lack of proof. You have no evidence, you have no proof. And if you were young enough, let's face it, a 3-year-old's not going to have proof. All they're going to have is their memories. So we need to make changes so that children who were abducted and have now grown up as adults and are trying to find their families, that they can have an easier journey home, and that they don't have to prove what happened to them, and they don't have to be re-abused by the system and victimized again and again. They've been through enough. It's time to help them come home in a better way. So please, if you're out there and you have memories of being abducted, you know this isn't your family you were raised with, whatever your situation is, that you have this feeling that you do not belong to that family. It's not an adoption situation. You were given somebody else's identity. If you're a living unidentified person and need help finding your family, please email us at findmywayhome@comcast.net. And I hope that this video will be informative and helpful. And to the families, don't give up hope. There's people out there looking for their families. We just need to find a way to get these two groups together so we can work together to bring more people home. Thank you.